There we go. Should have sound now. Sorry, boys and girls, folks. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Yay. Cool. Okay. I'll edit out that little no sound bit. Yeah, I don't know what sometimes the mic automatically seems to mute or something in StreamYard. It's weird. Like it was working earlier and then I went to sleep, came back and it was muted. Anyways, yeah. Sorry about that. Anyways, here I am. What's up? How's everybody doing? I was just saying we did 2 shows in London, Thursday, Friday, Cadogan Hall, and they were pretty epically fun, actually. And then we did one last night in Gateshead, Newcastle. 2 towns across the river from one another. Good times. Making a cup of tea here because I'm in England. That's what we do. Well, it's late. A little bit of tea. Did you hear Tracy Gunn sing your praises on Tone Talk? I didn't. I got to check that out. That's nice of him. He's a great guy. Super nice guy. Excited to try the Humbucker size P90. Thank you. Yeah, it sounds so good. I love that pickup. It's really nice. It's got a great punch, but also clarity to it, you know, like what you want, I think, out of a bridge pickup. There ain't nothing, you know, thin and weak about it, but yet it's still a single coil and sounds like one, you know, which is what I was going for. When we were designing the guitar and the pickup, purposely listened to a few different ones. We wound a few different strengths and stuff because it's really similar to the Sur sort of, you know, what they have with a P90, but we just tried a few different strengths and stuff, and there's of course in a humbucker housing. That's kind of the unique thing with my version. And the hotter ones sound great. They're really cool. But I went with the weakest one of the, you know, which is, I think it's somewhere around 8K or something like that. It was still for a single coil. It's hot, right? But that's what P90s are. But when you get hotter than that, it starts to sound more like a humbucker. It sounds cool. It's great with gain and stuff. But the whole point of this pickup was to be a fatter, punchier single coil, you know, that solves the kind of the Strat bridge pickup issue, if there is one. Some people probably like a weak Strat bridge pickup, but you know, even when they're 6.5 or something like that, or whatever, they, you know, they're not, it's still, you know, it's kind of and the slant on it and everything. So of course this pickup's straight, doesn't have a slant. It's just got a great sound, you know, so I'm really happy with that. The white guitar I've been playing out here is really, really nice. It's super cool. So yeah. Let's see. What else we got here? I have one of Phil X's humbucker size P90s in the neck, one of my Les Pauls. I dig it. Yeah, it's really nice on a Les Paul to actually do that, to have a humbucker in the bridge and a P90 in the neck. It's actually kind of a cool sound, I think. Yogi and I both did that in Chris Cornell band. We each had a Les Paul like that. It's pretty fun. P90s is something that, I mean, I really like them and stuff, and I love guitars I've played with them. I've had very few, though, in my own guitars, and I don't know why. I'm sort of like, got to do something with P90, a cool pickup, you know? So, and in my guitar, the new version of my guitar, it's silent as well. So the deal with that is, I'll just say, it uses the Sur SSC2 silent coil system. Because of the P90, I don't understand the technical ins and outs why exactly, but to be silent, it has to be active. So the pickups aren't active, just the noise canceling is active. So it doesn't affect the sound at all, other than it takes the noise away. But there is a battery in the guitar, a 9-volt, that'll last forever. It lasts really, really forever, long time. But when the battery goes, everything still works. The guitar still works great. Everything. You just notice single coil noise will be there because the coil is not, the cancellation system, you know, isn't functioning at that point. And so it'll just be like normal single coil. So you still get through a gig and everything like that. It'll just be a little noisier. No noisier than your average Les Paul special or whatever. Yeah. And then you just pop a battery in and back to, you know, working 100% again with noiseless. So that's how that works. Yeah. How are the Friedman IR pedals for Van Halen style tones? I mean, pretty cool, I think. I mean, the update they did on those was a really nice, kind of like even upgrade over the original, which sounded really good to me, the original IRX and stuff. But then they did a kind of a software update and stuff, which bumped up the the tone and kind of just made it more real. I don't know how they did it, but it had to do with the power amp simulation and stuff like that, I think, and just it's kind of a firmware upgrade that was free, a software tweak. And then so the new JEL one is like that and stuff. Long story short, they sound really good. Just hitting some random questions and stuff here. In your opinion, SL68 BE or SL 1959 modified? It's a depends question. I know that's probably not what you want to hear. I mean, the BE will give you an effect loop and a more sort of modern, well, it's got a gain stage in front of a plexi kind of scenario, basically. So it's more of a, the BE 50 or 100, they're multi-channel amps with effects loops. So a little more modern, a little more options and stuff like that. SL68 is a sort of hyper idealized plexi, but it's still a plexi. You do have the post-phase inverter master, a couple modern features, and some voicing switches and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, there's no loop, and it's not a multi-channel thing. It's a little more raw plexi, which is kind of only one way to really get there, which is that. So if that's what you want, then that's the way to do it. The BE can get you close to those sounds, but it's not quite the same. Anytime you do a gain stage in front of, it always changes the sound a little bit. Could be for the better for you, but might be, if you're looking for that true, kind of like raw thing, there's just a slight difference. It's got to do with when you put a gain stage, or a pedal or anything in front of a vintage amp like that, it will chop off some of the peaks and stuff of notes, right? Going into, because you've now gained up the signal and distorted it a little bit, going into the traditional sort of Marshall architecture. And when you do that, you've rolled off the peaks and the spike and all that stuff in the signal. So you've added a little drive and you've also compressed it a little bit, essentially. And it has a different sound then. That's what I think, Yngwie said it best in the Rick Beato interview he did when he said the gain in the old Marshall amplifiers was kind of linear throughout the amplifier. And I loved that description of it, where it's like there's some gain going on in the very early in the preamp. There's some gain going on with the whatever cathode follower and the phase inverter, and then that's hitting into the power tubes pretty strong, and it's all throughout the whole thing, whereas on the amps that are more a master volume design, BE style or whatever, PT100 amps like that, you've got more gain stages up front and less of the thing being developed later on. Just a different sound, a different way to go about it, a little more controllable, a little more whatever, but it doesn't sound exactly the same. So depends on what you want. Now, those new Marshall modified amplifiers, I'm understanding now that there is no extra gain stage per se in those. They went about the mods in a clipping diodes kind of way. So, so sort of like the saturation switch on a Friedman. It's a different thing. It has an effect of having a more of a, gained up, compressed vibe, but it's achieving it in a way that's a little different. Can be a cool sound. It's in a Jose, the sort of the main sort of Jose mod amp mod thing is a gain stage in front of a plexi, and then just the way he would tune that gain stage going into the front end of the plexi. That was then the later on his Zener thing, the whatever, the clipping diodes thing, I think he did that as well, and that's an extra sort of way to get there and more of a metal almost sound, but that main, gain stage in front of a plexi and then a EQ, master volume coming after the EQ, not a post-phase inverter master though, but after the EQ. That's the kind of Dave Friedman, through him teaching me and stuff and trying a bunch of different things. And this is what he likes, I know, his personal taste, and what I've grown to think is the best as well, is that. So the gain stage in front, the master after the EQ, that's it. that's kind of the tone, like when it comes to the Jose thing, that I would use the most. That would be like, if that's, you know, or if I was getting him to do one myself, if Jose was, you know, or whatever around, you know, back, if I knew back then, you know, in 1987 or something, that would be what I would want, because it's got the most sort of natural sound to me. But anyways, blah, blah, blah. Led Zepp documentary in theater this week. Yeah, I heard it was really good. I've seen people say it's like one of the best rock documentaries ever. I'd love to see it. Maybe on a day off or something I can get there. Is there much you can tell us about PT50? Will it have an IR version? Still discussing, to be honest. I believe so, though. Yeah, I mean, I hope that that's part of what we're incorporating. I think so. So it's going to be very versatile, with just sort of more. You know, we already had quite a versatile amp in the PT50 and the PT100. I just wanted to. I'll just say I wanted to be able to get like true, kind of what I was just talking about, actually, like the true plexi thing, a little closer to that, you know, if not exactly that. That's where I hope we get, but so that you've got the, you know, highly tunable, voiceable American clean channel. And then on the gain sides, you've got a little more range overall, because if anybody ever had a complaint about my amps, or maybe a BE or anything, it would be like, oh, I want to get that lower gain plexi thing or whatever. So it's like, okay, well, let's just address that, you know, try and get that more, so that if you've got the gain of the amp on 5 or whatever, but you don't have, you know, gain stages switched in, you know, that kind of thing. It's just a little bit more like true plexi, you know. And then my goal would be to make the masters on it as transparent as possible. So actually, let's say you're in a studio recording, you know, that great sound of a plexi cranked up, and or whatever, super lead circuit or whatever circuit, you know, even super bass circuit or whatever, cranked up real good. It's a unique thing, and it's what we were just talking about, that linear gain throughout the amp, to actually be able to get that out of this, you know, in a recording scenario or something. It might not be practical for live, because, you know, balancing masters on the different channels and stuff. But if you're like, I'm going to set the channel like this and just track apart, and it's basically a plexi, you know, at that point, I want to be able to do that with it. So, and be super legit sounding. So that's it, really, without going into too much detail. Yeah. So yeah, let's see. Alex says, looking forward to seeing you in Munich with Satch Vai. I've got my little practice set up here so that I can do a little playing. So yeah, I basically just have the you know, quad sitting there, and then the, you know, quad and it's just USB'd up, and then I can. So what I want to do is basically make a bunch of patches for all the songs. The individual songs and stuff, and get as close as I can to the kind of tones I would do with my real rig on the Quad Cortex. And I want to learn as much material as possible while I'm out here on the road. And then when I return in March, get back to LA, get to work on actually making patches, using my sounds and everything for the gig, using my real rig, you know, my amplifier rig with my pedal board, my live pedal board. And I'll just sort of copy them off what I already did in the Quad Cortex and get as close as I can. And then out on tour, you know, I would have the quad as a backup. And that's kind of my plan. You know, have the quad as a foolproof, you know, killer backup that's like kind of not, you know, not in the PA all the time and stuff, but could be if need be, if I had an amp rig go down or something. So how will you select stage gear? Well, I already have my rig over here that you guys, if you've seen any videos or anything from tour with Classic Rock Show, I've got 2 412s and 3 PT100s here right now. And our tour is in Europe, and we start in England. So it makes sense, right? I've got a rig here already. So all that stuff will just stay here after my tour. And then I'll take my pedal board back home, and some guitars and stuff like that. And some of it'll stay here. And then it'll simply end up just going back out on the road again. So it makes sense, right? So will you be touring in Europe with the CRS gig? Yes, we are. We're touring quite a bit in Europe. We've got 3 shows in Finland. We've got a couple in the Netherlands, if not 3, a couple in Denmark, Belgium. So quite a bit coming up. 1 in Germany, in Cologne. Check out the dates. Luxembourg. Check out the dates on the CRS. It's the classicrockshow.com website, and please come see us, Ian, if you can. Come out, check it out. Just going through some random, just lighten up comments here. Rebuilding a 2010 Strat, new trim, Dunlop pots, new switch blacked out, everything. What's the best cap to use for tones? Oh, you mean for like on the volume pot? I would look on the internet to see what Sir does. They use a cap resistor, and I'm sure the values are out there, but like I don't know what they are exactly, but whatever they do, I love it. So yeah. Do you ever buy from Pitbull Audio? I just ordered a PRS there. I did a clinic there once. It's in San Diego, right? So I did a clinic there once, and it was really cool. So yeah. I was on your previous stream. I asked, will you test Friedman Aerodonna on your channel before it goes into mass production? I mean, I'd love to, It's definitely an amplifier I'm interested in, and the whole, kind of the history of them and stuff. I'm fascinated by. So if you ask me to do it, I will. Yep. It's up to Dave, though, and the powers that be. You need like 8 more heads of 16 cabs. I'm already too loud on stage. How do you typically get the circuit going when writing songs or demos? The circuit? You mean like, how do I get inspired? Or I just pick up a guitar and get a tone, so if I'm making a video for a demo, I plug the thing in and then I go, it's probably going to be good into this, if it's the Rockman pedal, I'm like, it's going to be good direct. If it's an Octavia, let's plug it into the SL68, whatever. And then I go into a cabinet, get a guitar sound and turn it on and start playing something. And many times whatever comes out in the first minute or something is, that's a cool riff, or that's a seed for an idea. And then I start there. I think that's what you're asking me. Get inspired by the tone, basically. Todd Roy says CRS should come to Canada. We've talked about that, and it may happen. Just not sure yet, but love to go up there and do some stuff. Learn some Canadian rock too. Have you had much chance to do any sightseeing while in the UK? Just a little bit. Not a ton, but we haven't had. It feels like we haven't had a heck of a lot of days off. Or if we, like today, I'm in Southend and I went into town. It's kind of just a sleepy seaside kind of place, south of London. And I went, had a nice Sunday roast because it's Sunday, so nice dinner. Listen to a guy play acoustic guitar and quietly and sing and stuff, and it was cool. Did I see the Marshall pedals? I did, yeah. They look pretty cool, sound pretty cool from what I heard on the internet. Would be happy to check those out at some point. I don't know if I'm not gonna have a lot of time to make videos in the traditional demo sense that I have been. I'm gonna have to find some time to do it. I've still got people waiting for things. I do have a video coming out this week for the Evertune system, which is an interesting, I had fun with it, actually. They sent me a PRS guitar that had the Evertune system built in. For those that don't know, it keeps the guitar in tune all the time. Sounds crazy, but it does. And I recorded a piece, and I asked for the guitar to be in drop C sharp when they sent it to me, so super low, so that it's like usually a problem, when you hit the strings, it goes sharp to the low strings and all that, or trying to get chords to stay in tune and things. Not on that guitar, so you'll hear that coming out soon. I will play that for you. But if you could have any Dumbo model, I would take Dumbo the elephant. Dumbo. Dumble. I don't know that much about Dumble, to be honest. I've played a few, here's the thing. You could play two that are the same model, and they would have been tuned differently for the person that bought it, and they can sound completely different. Like out at IK Multimedia, they had a couple, and I when I was there in Italy, and so I played one. I really quite liked it. I thought it was great. Almost on the lower gain side than some of them that I've played. Hit it with a pedal, and It was just glorious. It actually sounded really good. Little combo, all wood combo. Then they had a black one that was like way higher gain, but same model. I think they were both overdrive specials. So they were just tuned differently. They sounded like two different models of amplifier. I really liked the lower gain one. It had a beautiful voice. The other one sounded more like kind of like there was a fuzz on or something, but could be the right thing for another person. So I guess that's the whole point, right? So Hollywood actress says, you finally arrive at South Tennessee, complete opposite side of the country to Gateshead. How was the drive down? Okay, I slept super late today. I feel like a sloth. Slept in like super late, but yeah. Somebody's saying, have you ever heard Jacob DeRaps play Van Halen? I have, yeah. He's been good at that stuff since he was a teenager, for sure. Which Friedman 21 heads do the Van Halen 1 thing? I mean, probably you could get there with the JEL or probably the Pink Taco, I would think. Yep. Both cool. The Taco sounds a little more like aggressively, modded, like kind of. And then the JEL is a little more traditional, straight up, full. So it just depends on your flavor. At least that's my not back to backing them. That's my assessment. What overdrives are you taking to Finland? I'm taking my whole rig, but it's got a unobtainium raw, the new unobtainium raw version from Crazy Tube Circuits, which is kind of like a Klon and then a Dumble drive in one. It's got a Crazy Tube Circuits, what the heck's it called? The Starlight Fuzz. It's kind of my favorite fuzz lately. Got lots of people online, 373. That's awesome. Thank you guys for turning up for the live stream. Saw the show last Thursday. Briefly said hello. Great show. Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it. Yeah, we've been having a lot of fun. The band's like super firing on all cylinders right now. It's been good. Are you expecting an all-in-one load box reamp IR to be released this year? I mean, I'm sure there's going to be more of that stuff coming out all the time. I would think, nobody's quite done it all in one. I'll say that. So, Sir Oso and Friedman Jose seem like the highlights of NAMM. Yeah, there was lots of neat stuff. I thought Yvette Young's pedal was really cool in that world. That came out. For sure the Friedman amp, neat. The Sir SL15, super cool, badger sized, really light and tons of tone. Oso for sure, neat. 24 and 3/4 scale. I think 24 and 6 something, whatever they call it. It's a Gibson scale. 3 on the side situations. There's somebody right there with the little Sir formula for 100K, 150K resistor, 680 picofarad cap. And Jeff says he's put them in many of his guitars. So that's the formula there for the treble bleed. Not an issue. Why does the nut on your custom hang over the headstock slightly? Playing the hell out of the guitar over the last 24 hours. Yeah, it's just the Sir nut design and headstock design. So, but it's not an issue. That's the way they are. Some Floyds were like that back in the day. They didn't have a shelf that was like, just the design of the way the fingerboard is or whatever going into the headstock. I'm glad you like it. I love mine. I've got mine here right now, actually. I should show this one because that's right. We'll show and tell. Check it out. So we're doing a new color on these. Ooh, look at that. So there's the black sparkle, and now there is the full-on red sparkle flake situation. Looks like a Christmas tree. Pretty fun. Pretty fun. Look at that. And when the lights hit that on stage, it goes bonkers. So this guitar can be ordered with either of these right now. So what you're talking about is just that little hang over the edge there with it's just sort of the way that the geometry of their headstock design and stuff, but it's a non-issue. Works great. Yeah, so I brought that one to the room to do some practicing and stuff. What else are we talking about here? Have you played or owned any performance guitar? No, I totally remember them, of course. Warren DeMartini, Snakeskin, Warren Cucurullo. Steve Vai, of course, had some performance guitars back in the day before Ibanez. He had Charvels and Jackson and Performance, all doing stuff for him. Pretty cool. I've been in the shop. I've just never, like back in the day, like in 1990, I went in there. I remember where they used to be on Cahuenga Boulevard. Oh, actually, for a while, I don't remember, but for a while they were on Cahuenga Boulevard, and then for a while they were on Yucca Street in Hollywood, and I was in both locations, just dropped in and stuff, but I never got anything from them. Great to see Rick Jr. and Les Sturd singing Whatever You Want. That's he's the son of of course, singer guitar player from Status Quo, and if you're English, you know who they are. And he was just a terrific guy, and he came out and sang with us. He's got a band as well, but yeah, he was a blast, really sweet dude, and jumped up on stage and did the tune with us. So great song called Whatever You Want, which is one of my favorite songs in the set. It's just a party that's so much fun to play, like really fun. You can not have fun. Does that make sense? And play that song. It's just great. Status Quo is such an interesting band that like didn't really hit in the US, but over here they were just huge, So I guess it's like one of those bands, a little like, I don't know. I mean, what's the American equivalent? I'm not really sure if there was an American equivalent. That'd be a similar band, but just a great rock band, with great simple tunes that just kind of hit, some good times. So we like to play their songs here. Did you plan on the rig and guitars for the Joe gig? Well, I'm still working on guitars and stuff like that and learning, what I'm going to need and stuff, but there will be some interesting things that I've got to bring out. But got to try and keep it relatively slim down as far as the amount of stuff as well too. So we'll see. Love the Starlight, goes great with a good driver pedal such as a Friedman. Is that the Starlight Fuzz? Yeah, the Starlight Fuzz from Crazy Tube Circuits. It is great. I actually we do Black Dog in the set. James handles most of he's the main guitar player on that song. But we decided kind of, because we both used to do it on Les Pauls or whatever, and Marshall-y tones, we decided maybe I should be doing it with a fuzz and a Telly, it was a little more Led Zeppelin. So I actually play it with my Sir T and the Starlight Fuzz to kind of lend a little bit more color to the song, So James is on his Les Paul and I'm through an old Marshall, and I'm on the clean channel of my amp using the Starlight, because probably on the record, it's probably, I don't know exactly, but it's probably like DI fuzz or something weird, like Jimmy used to do crazy stuff. So it's kind of interesting. But anyway, it's been working out good. Loved your video, the MXR RX100. Ordered mine from Sweetwater. Can't wait to get it. It's really nice. It's got that sound, It's really fun. When does the Satch Vi tour start, and have you started looking at the tunes? Yeah, just getting into it. That's why I got my little rig set up in here. As a matter of fact, after I get off the stream, I'll probably go for I'll go an hour or whatever right now, and then I'll get off of here and go do some learning and stuff. My goal is to learn, just not go crazy and beat myself up, do a couple, maybe every day, one or two, and just dig into it. And then in a month I should have made great progress. So that's the goal. Yeah, if Pete brings CRS to Toronto, I bet you can make that 2-hour journey. It might happen. We don't know yet, but we'll see. See you there, Ben. I hope. Are there any new amp designs from legacy amp makers? Everything seems to be reissues of the greatest hits. Give Fender some props for doing the Jack White. If you haven't seen that, go watch his video for it. It's really neat, man. I think 15 and a 10 in an amp about the size of a Super Reverb. Beautiful graphics and the kind of the cosmetics and stuff that's sort of signature, looks classic but looks new too. And what you've got is a 15 in there with a 40-watt power amp and a 10 with a 20-watt power amp, I believe. And it's got reverb, and you can choose to have the reverb in both speakers or just one, the 10. And it's also got harmonic tremolo that goes between the two, so it's stereo. It swims around and it sounds amazing. Yeah, sure. Maybe you could say it's a reissue of a greatest hits, but not really. It's they never did an amp with a harmonic tremolo that pans that's stereo. The only other amp I can think of that does that is the Magnetone. And it's a great sound and super vibey. Like so there's one from the legacy amp maker that I thought was pretty damn cool, And sometimes it takes somebody like an artist like him to come in and, you know, this is what I want, and then they got to figure it out, and then you come up with something new. I mean, I guess that's what I did with Sir with the IR, the PT15. Was like really pushed to do like, here's what I want, let's do it like this. Why can't we do this? There's got to be a reason this doesn't exist. It's or not. Maybe it's possible, and then we do it, and then it's like gives you a new thing. So sometimes with companies, with certain companies, I mean, John, Sir was sort of you'd see his ideas distilled through the amps they'd put out. Smaller companies, Dave Friedman, I guess, similar, puts out a twin sister, and it's like, yeah, I want to do 2 Dirty Shirley channels, but with, identical, and then you can set them up however you want. Like, that's a pretty distilled one guy kind of plan idea, not a lot of other, stuff going on. I think with some of the bigger manufacturers, you might get like, a little bit of team think or something, and things can get diluted a little bit and stuff. It's not so pure, I guess that's part of the, some of the great amps, Dumble or Trainwreck or whatever, these unique designs with unique tones and stuff was one person's vision, really. So, yeah. Yeah. Arthur says, I dig that color, kind of plum look. Yeah, it's pretty like in person, like, I don't know how to describe, but I don't know if it's coming through as, I guess it is kind of plum, it doesn't look, it's got a little purple almost to it on the right now, but it doesn't really in person. It's really red. It might just be the light or whatever in here, but it really blows up when it, on stage, it looks cool. So basically with this kind of hot rod version of the guitar with the FU-tone Floyd and everything, you get 2 sparkle options. You get the red or the black, which is a little more subtle. Both cool. So yeah. Yeah. That guitar needs a scoop of vanilla ice cream. Totally. Yeah. Did you lend James your black sparkle, or did he buy one? He bought one. He's got one. So there's times in the show where we're both using my model, which is really fun. I'm proud of that. James is a great supporter and stuff, and really he's growing to dig the Sirs a lot. So, and Sir's a great supporter of us. Yeah. Okay, what else we go in here? Let's see. A few weeks ago, I asked for a recommendation for a pickup squat. This is how close you nailed it. You recommend Duncan Screaming Demon, matches close to my DiMarzio Fred. Cool. Yeah, it's probably a similar output, right? Around around 10K or something like that, I think. Something like that. What's your favorite Leslie sim? Probably in a pedal, the ventilator stuff is really, if you just want a dedicated Leslie sim, they're pretty hard to beat. But I love what Strymon does too, and I can get a great version of that sound out of my Eventide as well, the H90. So both of those I can tweak and get there, the sort of the Strymon Lex algorithm or whatever's in the Mobius or the Eventide, I can get really good sounds. And then maybe just, top of the mountain is maybe the ventilator. Pretty great. Yeah. Yeah. Black Glove says, I think you walked into my shop back in the day. No way you'd remember. Where was it? I wonder. Tell me where it was. I might remember. I remember weird stuff. So kind of random stuff. Yeah. Okay. What else we got here? Looking through the chat, running down. Braxall says, love running Yellow Side of the King and Tone with the Germanium Wampler Deluxe. I've heard good things about those Germanium Wamplers. That it was a good sounding box. I never got to try one of those. They sold out of them right away, I think. I do love my Germanium Raw. from unobtainium. There's something going on that's special there. Pretty cool. Will the Joe gig conflict with the CRS gig? I hope not. I don't think so right now. And at least not at the moment. There's no conflicts. So, which is pretty good. It is a very busy year though. Very busy year. The Jack White Fender amp is cool, way out of my everything league, but cool. Yeah, it's really cool. Agreed. Any chance you have the Sir T in the room with you? I don't think I've ever seen it. I don't actually. No, sorry. I can show it to you another time though. But that's a fun guitar. I love it. I'm playing it a lot in the set. I play it on some Springsteen, and I play it on the Who, and I play it on some Tom Petty, and it's a nice guitar, really nice guitar. It's good solid T. Mark says I'm the odd man out, not into Jack White. Well, I mean, I think the thing about Jack is I have this thing about him where it's like you don't necessarily have to like all his music or anything like that, but he is cool as hell. He's just got like he's a stylish guy, he's a smart guy, he's got great kind of, I don't know, I like his attitude, his commitment to things, and like he is always pushing. He's a real artist. He's always pushing forward, doing like he's as big of a zigzagger, isn't he? Like, would you have ever thought that he would play EVH guitars that were all blue with a Floyd, and stuff? So just when you think I got that guy figured out, he plays airline and old junky guitars and things and does this, then he zigs and zags, and it's got cool Tellys now and stuff, signature Tellys and stuff. And he's always mixing it up and stuff. And I think he likes to keep people guessing. And he's somebody I think about a lot if I'm ever self-conscious on stage, and I've spoken about that numerous times, but he's my little spirit animal when it comes to like keeping your mind in the right place, and how like mistakes aren't really important, and like what's important is that you carry through with your attitude and your ideas and go for things and stuff. So like he really made an impression on me in that It Might Get Loud movie. I've only seen him play live once, but he was great with Rock on Tours in probably like late 90s or early, it must have been the 2000s. I don't know when it was, but 2000s at some point. Yeah. It was like probably like 2008 or 9. I saw him with that band at the still functioning, still operating Gibson Amphitheater or Universal Amphitheater. I don't remember what it was called when I saw him there, but they were great. But yeah, it was really that movie where he made this impression on me. And I realized like, when you're on stage and going for things and stuff, that it's just important to, go head first in and just attack, and so if I'm ever having a moment on stage where my head's not in the right place, I can actually just think about him and his attitude, and it tends to reset me, and we all have a voice in the back of our head sometimes, you know what I mean? And mine's is Jack White, because it's that primitive, simple thing that sometimes you need to, because there's a primitive thing to him that I really appreciate, and that the audience tends to appreciate, and that music fans appreciate, not necessarily guitar players that are super hypercritical and analytical and stuff, but the 95% of people in the crowd that are the music fans and that don't care about, the technical aspect of guitar or what pickup you're using or whatever, that's the part when I say I reset and just get into that, because those people want to see you go for it, and that visceral, just like attitude, and they want to see. Somebody else told me something once that I've internalized. They were like, they want to see something that they can't do. When you're on stage, they're there to see. They paid money for a ticket. They come out and they want to see a show. And he actually says that, and It Might Get Loud. He's like, they came to see a show, so I better perform. And it's like that's part of what entertainment is. Is that it's like, they want to see something that they don't know how to do. And so if you look afraid or like you're backing off from it or something or whatever, then it's just kind of, they can feel that. Every human being can feel that. A little kid can feel that. An old person can feel that. Anybody can feel that. But if your head's in the right place and your heart's in the right place and your spirit's in the right place and you're really just kind of going for it, you know. Maybe that's why people watch this show, you know, because like I don't edit myself at all. I'm just talk off the top of my head and I make mistakes and probably say stupid things and things like that. But I think you guys know that I don't, you know, I'm not afraid to do this. Public speaking is something, you know, that I'm not, I guess I've embraced, you know, and it's like, this is basically public speaking, you know, it's just on the internet. So every night I've been doing a little tribute to John Sykes. And the other night, I'll tell you, I'll just be completely honest. The other night I was on stage and I guess I was tired and stuff like that. And I started to do the little tribute. And John Sykes is somebody that I got to know a little bit, you know, and he was a sweet guy. I mean, he was awesome and one of my heroes, you know. And the other night, right while I was doing it, I had a little brain fart and I actually like didn't forget his name, but do you know what I mean? Like it flat. Like, have you ever had that happen before? Where like, or maybe it's just dementia as I get older. But you know, have you ever had that happen where you just lose your train of thought and like what you were, you know what I mean? Like, and the exact name of, and then it came right to me. It was like there, but a little terrifying for a second. But I didn't let it get to me. I just went like, what do you know what I mean? And I just had to like gather my thought for a minute, and then one thing led to another, and the little neuron fired in my crusty old brain, and I said, you know, we're talking about John Sykes, you know. But I did have a moment where it just that kind of happened to me, you know. And I guess we all have those moments where, like, even on stage, where you know you might play a lick that you've played a million times, and all of a sudden it's like I call it looking at wood and metal. Do you relate with that at all? No music on the fingerboard, just wood and metal. It looks like parts, but there's no music there, you know? And it's like can be a thing you've played a million times, that weird intangible where you're like, what just happened to my mind? Like where you were just in the wrong place for a second or whatever and not focused or whatever. And that's just human, man. It's human. So it happens to everybody, I do believe, you know, probably some more than others and some less than others and some almost never and some more than they'd like, but we're all human. So anyways, that was a rant. Does James have his 57 gold top on tour? You know, I don't know if he has that anymore. He buys and sells guitars so much. I think he told me that he doesn't have it, but I could be wrong about that. So he's got another guitar that's a beautiful red conversion. It's got PIFs in it, and it started life as a 54. It's a great guitar. It sounds so good and plays great and everything. So he brings his vintage stuff out. He's a nut. He's a nutter. But his tone is really good right now with his like really good. His old Marshall with an old 68 cabinet and you know real deal Les Pauls and stuff. It's pretty awesome. Yeah. 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 Uh we tend to not talk about politics on here, so I may or may not just okay, let's just do it. Will the tariffs affect guitar parts? Probably, yeah. And amps and stuff. Because you know, a lot of things come from China, obviously, right? And so you're definitely going to see some and wood, like wood comes from Canada, things like that. So that's all I'll say about that. Just a yes or no, and I'm going to say yes. Ideas from committee. It's made up of everyone's third choices. I'm not sure what that means. I'm just lighting up comments here. Let's see. Will the Joe gig conflict with CRS? No, I already answered that one. I don't think so. No, I think I'm at least for now. I'm good. So yeah, at least for now, I can kind of cover everything I need to do. So Screaming Demon is often a misjudged pickup. It has got the chimey edge of breakup thing down. Ceramic. Is it ceramic? Is it? Screaming Demon, ceramic. I thought it was an Alnico magnet in that pickup. I know it's about 10K. I'm going to look it up. I thought it was at A5. There's this. Let me find the spec. Just trying to find the something that tells me what the magnet is. a lot of information here, but I don't see the... This is more of a review or something. It was like something on the Seymour Duncan site. Yeah, now I found the actual web page. This should tell me what kind of magnet's in it. Tech specs. It's an A5, not ceramic. I thought so. A5, about 10K, I think. And let's see here, product details. I can't find any other stuff, but let me just turn off my ringer there. A5, about 10K. As I remember, 10.5 or something like that. But yeah, yeah, Chris is watching, right? And that's you, Chris Clarkson, texting me. A5. Yeah. Good stuff. A5. Thanks, Chris. Let's see, what else are we talking about here? What did you think about the Charvel USA selector card? Didn't see them. One thing that I'll be critical about a little bit is that at the NAMM show, both Fender and Gibson were just doing meeting rooms. So they were there, but not for guys like me or anybody that was just they can walk around and go in there. It was like for the dealers, which I get. I mean, in a way, it keeps it, whatever. It's probably more organized. You can do more in a smaller space and be a little less chaotic. But everybody kind of seemed to be there. All the guitar companies this year, and Marshall had their booth, and it was like, I don't know, man. I mean, it's like, if you're gonna go, then let everybody see the stuff. It would seem, especially in the era of social media, when you're just giving up. You're curating, I guess, the people that can come through and take pictures and put them out there. So you might have seen them, but I didn't see them, and I was there, right? I didn't see them at the, because I couldn't go in. That's some of you were probably surprised to hear that, but yeah, sometimes companies will just do these meeting rooms, and then they don't have their so in other words, they just set up meetings and appointments with dealers and with distributors. Those people will come by, they meet with them at a set time, and they're in like a little room, or anything from a little room on up to quite a large area where all the guitars are on display, but we can't go in. The people that don't have anything to do with buying or selling those guitars can't be there. Yeah. So that's the case. Now, I probably could have gone because I had a media badge. So I had a badge through SIR, and then I also had a media badge, and I probably could have set up times to go with my media badge because I'm a YouTuber. So I had the type of credentials, but I didn't. I went up there at about I don't know, 4:30 or 5 p.m. on Friday, and realized that I couldn't just walk in, and I only had a limited amount of time to do. I was only at NAMM for about one full day and a Saturday morning. That's all I could stay. I didn't get sick, knock on wood. So many people got the anthrax and chills and in bed and the whole 9 yards. Were a mess, and I didn't get ill. I got so lucky, man. So really lucky. Congratulations on the Satch 5 gig. That's awesome. Hope you hit the US as well. Any plans to review the ToneX cab? So now that thing's out, I can talk about it a little bit. ToneX cab. It's a full range cabinet meant to use with things like modelers, but it looks like a little guitar 112. I was very impressed with it. I heard it when I was in Italy last fall, so a few months before NAMM. And I think they've even made some improvements, but it was, I think, the first time I've played through one of those things where I thought, that sounds like a guitar amp a lot. So it is a good piece of gear. I can tell you that. Very natural feeling to me, not like a PA speaker, it sounded like kind of like a guitar cabinet. It was like, I've never really felt like that before. The only one that I ever played where I really felt like it was pretty great like that, and not like playing through a studio monitor or a live wedge monitor. The only one, because that can be okay too. I mean, years ago I did a video for the Atomic Reactor cab, the one that was like a wedge, and I was like, this thing sounds great. It sounds like my studio monitors. Didn't sound like a guitar cabinet, but it sounded like a very, very good monitor that was really with a great big sweet spot and was cool, but it wasn't sounding like a guitar cab to me. This one sounds like a guitar cab and feels like a guitar cab. So pretty darn cool, must say. And they're supposed to get one to me at some point. Maybe that'll happen in March and give it a go again. Yeah. The full shred is ceramic. Is that right? Full shred ceramic? I thought that was Alnico too. Are you sure about that? I gotta look that up. Chris Clarkson's gonna text me here in a minute and tell me it's not or is. Are you sure? Full shred pickup. That's the one that Vivian Campbell endorsed back in the day. Bright medium output. What is it? A5. You guys getting it all wrong. I knew it was A5. I was like, I don't think so. If there's one pickup I know a lot about, it's the older Seymour Duncans from back in the day. Like I know the specs. I'm like, yeah, full shred. No, that's not. That's an Alnico magnet. Just because I tried them all back in the day. I really did. I was super. I would buy all of these pickups back when I was a kid. Buying pickups was a way, you could switch up your tone and try things that wasn't as expensive as buying an amp or whatever. And when a new Duncan came out, I can remember I told my buddy Blue Saraceno this. I was like, I remember when I was like in 12th grade, I got in a car accident on the way to buy your Humbucker pickup. A little while ago, he gave me a Super Distortion as a gift, which was so nice of him. But yeah, he gave me one while I was, and he's like, well, this will make up for your, yeah. Anyway, yeah. A couple super chats here. Just got a new PT100 yesterday. Really like how the effect master controls the volume. Had the PT15. Cool. Hope you dig it. PT100 is a great, you need one amp to do it all and play gigs at pretty much anything from club to stadium volumes. It'll work. And it's a great piece of gear that I still love using live. And I do nightly. Any idea if they'll let you use tube amps? No. I can pretty much do, I think, what I need to do. As far as I know, I mean, I haven't had any limitations other than them just being like, we can't go too crazy with how much we bring and stuff. I'm like, yeah, I think I've got that under control. And I mentioned to them my ideas, the stage manager and stuff, production manager, and he seemed fine with what I've told him so far. So, yeah, I do want to do stereo for sure and stuff, just to be, textures and things, and be that guy that can have some versatility as far as, I need to sort of have a, my role will be, I think, partially, well, what they need is my role, but partially that will mean textures and things like that. And that to me says stereo, some bigger, sort of wider, if you listen to a lot of the, Satriani, for example, there'll be hard pan rhythm guitars, right? And then his guitar is kind of somewhat mono, maybe not mono, but, up the middle, the lead singer up the middle, right? And then there'll be wide panned guitars. And so I'm thinking about that and how to fill that out, yeah. I'm gonna run fairly soon, guys, because I'm gonna just go. I'll go an hour here, a little bit more. Even though we got tons of you online, it's great to see y'all here. 392. It says that's fantastic. Did you get to see Pat Travers and Nuno in San Juan Capistrano? I'm sorry, I was in probably Bournemouth. So yeah, I'm over in overseas in the UK right now, and I will be over here for this foreseeable future until the early March. Doing a bunch of dates, having a great time out here playing rock songs. We're having a really good, we're really good time. Most fun this year that we've had, I think. Yeah. Little Screaming Demon ceramic. I think that's right. I think the little JB might be ceramic. I don't know why. I could be wrong about that, but I think the small versions, the little Strat style ones, are ceramic for some reason. You'd have to ask somebody at Duncan. Do you think the MXR X100 would work as a pedal for live work in a 2-guitar band? Seems like it would be too compressed. Well, you can control the compression with the input gain slider, how hard you're driving into the compression circuit. guess some other people did some videos with it where they were running it into amps. I didn't do that. I ran it direct in my video because that's the way that, you know, it was kind of designed to be used for the most part, I think. But obviously people are going to want to plug it into amps. I would say the cleaner and sort of more, I don't know, hi-fi or more sort of neutral, actually, probably the most neutral, you know, clean would probably be with a fairly open extended top end speaker wise, and it should sound pretty good, you know, I would think. We love you, man. We love you too, dude. Mr. Crumb Hunger. Love you too. Oh, yeah. Okay. Let's see. Edge and Jimmy Page were well impressed with Jack White in that film. I think so too. Yeah. I thought they were a great trio, you know. It's pretty interesting. Yeah. Yeah. What else we got here? Let's see. Had it happen to me at a gig last night, says Stephen Douglas. Me and the other guitar player have a dual lead line, and I just went blank. Sucks, couldn't sleep. Yeah, don't beat yourself up too much, you know? It's like, I swear to God, dude, it happens to me too. Actually, I had another moment that maybe it was last night. We have a dual lead thing that where James and I lock up and play the same lick, and he forgot to play it. He just started playing rhythm, and I forgot the line completely and just played for about 4 bars. I played something that was just completely, I don't know what, but some lead bogus stuff. And then I looked at him and he goes, I forgot. And I went, I forgot too. We're standing there staring at one another like, we both forgot, you know, and sort of because it's really loud and we're both trying to just like, and then we joined up on the next lick and we were right there. And it's kind of cool. It's like, it's kind of better, you know. I mean, he just ended up playing rhythm for that. Probably nobody noticed. Probably just sounded like a little mucky for a minute. But it happens to all of us. So what are you going to do? You know, it's live. It's fun. You know, if people wanted to listen to the record real loud, they could just put that on at home. So, yeah. I was a vocalist before playing guitar. Being a bit out of focus is beneficial to singing, not so with playing guitar. Unless you forget the words, I guess, right? Yeah. Yeah. Arthur says, this is a nice no politics fight. We get enough of that everywhere else. We certainly do these days. Yeah, I don't like to, kind of a little bit done with it all, to be honest, you know, just for my mental health. But yeah, what are your thoughts on a humbucker in the neck of a Telly? Pros and cons. I kind of never got it. That's just my honest, you know, first, you asked me what I think. I think I like 2 humbuckers in a T, you know. I like my alt T. It's got a couple Thorn buckers in it. I can get a lot of tones out of that. But the single coil in a bridge and then a humbucker in a neck, it's like, I don't know. It's still just there's going to be an imbalance there, isn't there? Maybe on one of those wide range Fender pickups, if you dropped it way down in the pick guard and then had the single coil high, it worked good. But not really I like humbuckers in the neck. I mean, I do on some guitars, you know, but I'm kind of a I love single coils and I love the character of them and I love the true clean you can get out of them and all that good stuff. So, you know, for me, a Les Paul with like real low whines, you know, in the neck, like a 7 point something in the neck, is a great thing. You know, that's obviously a great tone that, you know, people get good cleans and stuff out of them. But on something like a Telly or something, I don't think, you know, what was a great guitar sound that was done with one. I can't think of one. You'll probably tell me, oh, Keith Richards used one on this or something in the 70s, but I don't know, you know, of the kind of the Telecaster Deluxe or the different, you know, guitars that had the humbucker in the neck. I don't know. I guess I just don't know what you're supposed to do with it, kind of, you know. So, yeah. Yeah. This is interesting perspective from Bonamassa. He says if it's already installed and done, just go with it, I think is what you're saying. Yeah. Use it for what it is, I guess, you know. So, yeah. 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 Um, Okay. I'm gonna go way down. I gotta go soon, guys, because I want to get a little bit of practice done, and I've got limited time left in the day. So, full shred medium output bridge delivers a full focused tone with nicely balanced treble and bass, and backed off mids, shorter Allen head pulls, and Alnico 5. I'd love a description at some point of what Alnico pulls do in a pickup compared to, say, uh, a regular slug and screw coil. In the everything else being the same in a pickup, it'd be neat, wouldn't it? Like to know for the super nerds. I'm not sure, I know what a super distortion does, and I know that it helps when you've got the same metal in both coils, like so same types of pole pieces and exact same coils. It helps keep it truly hum canceling and super quiet because the coils are exactly the same and the cancellation of the noise works better. But I don't have a perspective on what an Allen head pole is what I'm trying to say. Sounds like compared to like in a full shred or even in a super distortion. They have them too, right? What that sounds like compared to, say, a slug coil or a screw coil. So good questions. We should make a bunch of pickups and try them all sometime and test it in here. I wonder if I could talk a pickup manufacturer into doing that. Let's make 3 of the same pickup and listen with just different pole piece arrangements. Maybe 2 slug coils. Remember, Schaller used to do that. 2 slug coils all the way across. I think Duncan and people have experimented with 1 coil of the Allen heads and 1 of screws. I think I've seen that before on certain pickups. I don't know what that would sound like, et cetera, et cetera. Stephen Douglas is asking how I got the Satriani gig. To be fair, I mean, it's it all started with just a conversation with Joe, and it was really just him reaching out and saying, "I've got a crazy idea. Can I call you?" And he did, and I was blown away. It's really that simple. I don't have much more to add. We had a meeting, and which was great. We got together and talked about all things guitar. For it was just for Marco came to that meeting as well. Mendoza, and that was the first time I'd met him. He was very nice. Seems like a terrific guy. And he had to leave then because he had a gig. So he was there for a little while before me, I think. And then I showed up. We all hung for 15 minutes or so, and then he had to go. And then I sat with Joe and just talked about guitar for about 2 hours. And we'd met once before, but he wouldn't have remembered that. It was briefly right before a show, Chickenfoot show, that I was playing with Chris Cornell, also on the same bill many years earlier. And then we had some interactions over the years just on DM and stuff like that, but that was about it. But he had just mentioned that he had listened to my Pete Thorn 2 record, and that I thought that I had the right sort of sensibility for the direction that he wanted to go. And then we just talked about guitarists and about Richie Blackmore and about Eddie Van Halen and about all kinds of and pedals and all kinds of things. We had a really nice talk. And I really feel like I just really, like, it was my feeling anyway. I can't speak for him, but I just sort of felt like we hit it off and like I was rapping with an old friend fairly quickly, and he's one of my heroes too, so it was like I had to, later on, I was like, oh, pinch me. That was, it was a really nice meeting with one of your heroes that had a big impact on me, actually. His melodic sense, his sense of space, his sense of when to burn and when to, leave space. And I really admired him, and I saw him as far back as maybe in 89, something like that, 88, 89 in Edmonton. I remember it was at the convention center, which wasn't a place that many people played as a concert venue. But it was next to the Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton. But he played there, and it's probably a 4,000 or 5,000 seat, affair back then. It was. I don't know if it's even there anymore. It's probably not. But yeah, they got a new convention center, and that was it the convention center? I don't remember. I remember the venue anyway. It was beside the Northlands Coliseum, smaller venue. Somebody's calling me. I'll just send a message and I'll continue on my story. On live stream. Yeah. So anyway, what was my point? I saw him there with Jonathan Mover on drums, Stu Ham on bass. Clearly remember it. Great show. And was really, that was the first time that I'd ever seen somebody play like that, instrumental guitar, no singing for a whole show, and do a show where they were the lead singer on guitar. And it had made a big impact on me. Really big impact on me. Yeah, and then I, discovered I actually had a nice meeting with Steve, just briefly, when not a dedicated meeting, but I went to the Beat show, one of the few that they played in the LA area, because they did quite a few around LA, because it's a very successful tour and people really are, excited about it and coming out to see them, and they were so good. I really enjoyed the show. I had a backstage after and went back, and it was very busy back there. I had a nice chat with Adrian Ballou for a while as well. He was just a lovely guy, like really funny and great. I loved chatting with him. And I talked to Steve briefly, and Steve kind of leaned over and said to me, this was the week after I met with Joe, and Steve leaned over and he said, did you meet with Joe? And I said, yeah. And he said, how'd it go? And I was like, I really enjoyed it. It was great. We just rapped about guitar for a couple hours. And Steve I've met a few times over the years, and he's always been just wonderful. So I knew him a little bit and stuff. And he said, well, great. I hope we'll be seeing a lot more of you real soon. And that's when I left that night, I was like, I think I better start thinking about this pretty seriously, and get my head around it and stuff, because they're two heroes of mine, so I'm so up for the experience, and I'm so honored, I really honored to be there, and it's not lost on me. It's very special, and so that's why I should probably go and get to work, because that's my goal, is to be really, really up on the material by the time we get together. So I've got some time, though. I've got good time to work on it. I'm very excited about it, and it's just a real honor. So. And Kenny and Marco, you can't discount. Those guys are legends as well, and so what an honor. And I just want to learn, I want to do the best job I can, do what's asked of me, and also contribute in any way that I can, and also just be present, soak it up, be there and rock the hell out. So that's my goal. And with that, I'm just going to check and see if there's super chats here I've missed, and then I'm going to split you guys. But if I buy the expensive G3 GSP ticket, I want to meet P as well, not just Jones. I don't know anything about that, actually. I think they might have a thing like that, I was told, but I don't. Yeah, I did. I don't know, Andy. I don't know about that. But anyways, I think there was a mention of that sort of ticket arrangement. But anyways, heading all the way down to the end of the chat here, there's Ian. Don't forget to call Britt and the kiddies. You're right, I need to do that, and then get to work on learning some stuff. So I've got to return that phone call. So anyways, everybody, thanks so much. This was nice. I could do the show at a normal time this week because I didn't have a gig tonight. It was a day off. That usually doesn't happen. So I can't promise next Sunday what's going to happen. But hopefully I'll be able to do one no matter what, even if it's kind of later. I've been kind of doing them after shows, and that puts it somewhere in the mid to late afternoon, depending where you are in the US, I guess. If you're in the US, or if you're in Canada, or if you're in Europe, then it's nighttime. So blah, blah, blah. All right, everybody. Great to hang with you. Thanks so much for being here. Appreciate you all as always. Everybody be nice to one another more than ever these days, because it's a crazy world out there. We got to stick together. We're all in it together. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Appreciate your super chats and your well wishes, and as always, everybody take care, and I'll see you real soon. Over and out.